Agent Daniel Reeves' reassignment arrived with no signature, no explanation, just an order for him to be put at a distance. Reeve, however, had other plans. Instead of accepting the quiet transfer, he chose to vanish. Months turned into a year, and the official story about the Alcatraz escapees hardened into accepted history. Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers drowned in the unforgiving waters of the San Francisco Bay. The public accepted it, the case was closed, and the world moved on. But the past rarely stays buried. A body surfaced near Point Reyes, pulled from the cold embrace of the Pacific. The autopsy report was clear: blunt force trauma to the head. It wasn't a drowning. Fingerprints soon confirmed the victim's identity: Ellis Harper. For those in the know, Harper was the man who knew too much, the one who handled the logistics for operations nobody was supposed to talk about. This wasn't a random accident. Someone was systematically erasing loose ends, tying up every last thread of a story that was never meant to be told. This is where Agent Reeve re-enters the picture, operating from the shadows he had chosen. He knew Harper's death was a message. He started digging, not into the official case files, but into the forgotten corners of bureaucracy. He found his first clue in a place no one would think to look: a dusty, defunct contractor's archive. Inside a moldy box, he uncovered a financial ledger, a ghost of transactions long past. It was a complex web of shell companies and secret payments, designed to hide the flow of money. But one transfer stood out, a line item that sent a chill down his spine: completion bonus. And next to it, the operation had a name: Project Undertow. The truth began to crystallize. Morris and the Anglin brothers weren't just common criminals who masterminded an impossible escape. They were assets. They were tools recruited for a clandestine purpose, used and then slated to be discarded. Their escape from Alcatraz wasn't just them breaking out, it was them breaking a deal. They had outsmarted not just the guards of the Rock, but a far more powerful and shadowy system. And when they escaped on their own terms, that system couldn't allow it. It had to rewrite the ending, creating the myth of their demise to maintain control of the narrative. Reeve, now a ghost himself, was hunting other ghosts. He found a final, tantalizing lead, a whisper that took him far from the cold shores of San Francisco all the way to the warm coast of Brazil. He followed the trail to a small, remote village where memories were long. The locals remembered them. 3 quiet American men who had appeared one day, living a simple life on a small farm. They paid for everything in cash, never spoke of their pasts, and kept to themselves. One of the men, they recalled, would sometimes play the accordion at night, filling the quiet air with lonely, melancholic tunes. Reeve found the farm. It was long abandoned, weathered by the sun and reclaimed by nature. He searched the dilapidated house, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and dread. He pried up the floorboards, expecting the worst, perhaps a hidden grave. But he found no bodies. Instead, he found proof of life. Lying there in the dirt were several prison-issue spoons, just like the ones used to dig through the walls of Alcatraz. There was a harmonica, a small, simple instrument of hope. And then, the final, irrefutable piece of evidence: a photograph. It showed 3 older, weathered men standing on a sun-drenched beach, their backs to the camera, staring out at the vast ocean they had once conquered. He turned the photo over. On the back, written in a steady hand, were 5 powerful words: "We chose to vanish." They hadn't just escaped a prison of concrete and steel. They had escaped a system that intended to use them and then erase them. Their disappearance wasn't a failure. It was their ultimate victory. Reeve returned to the United States, armed with the ledger, the autopsy report, and the photograph. He submitted everything through the proper channels, compiling a meticulous report that laid out the entire conspiracy of Project Undertow. He exposed the truth about Harper's murder and the secret lives of the escapees. And then, nothing happened. Absolute silence. Project Undertow remained classified, buried under layers of national security. Ellis Harper's death was officially ruled an accidental drowning, a tragic footnote. The grand escape from Alcatraz remained a myth, a cold case, a story of failure, where 3 men were swallowed by the sea. Reeves' evidence simply vanished into the bureaucratic abyss. Years passed. Agent Daniel Reeve lived out the rest of his life in quiet obscurity, the man who knew the truth but was powerless to make it heard. After his death, while sorting through his meager belongings, his family found a final letter. It was his last testament, a final attempt to set the record straight. It read, "They didn't drown, they escaped something worse. The strongest prisons aren't built with bars, they're built with silence." The rock still stands in the San Francisco Bay, a monument to an era gone by, a tourist attraction shrouded in legend. But the truth, as Reeve discovered, never stayed locked inside it. It traveled across the ocean, lived on a farm in Brazil, and was captured in a single photograph. This is the end of the story as we know it, a story of escape, conspiracy, and the enduring power of silence. If this case stayed with you, and if you believe that some truths deserve to see the light of day, please like, comment, and share this video. And don't forget to subscribe, because some stories only surface when someone refuses to let them sink. Thanks for watching.